Good morning, everyone. Terry Hardin, Walt Disney's legendary Imagineer here, and person who's done a heck of a lot in her short little lifespan. But how are you? Happy Martin Luther King Day. How's everyone doing? Is it nice to have a day off to celebrate one of the greatest men in history? Can I turn it off? Yeah, good. It's raining here in California where I live today, and it's wonderful. Now it looks like a little bit of sun is trying to peek out, and it was lovely to wake up to the rain and have it overnight because I sleep 10 times better when it's raining outside. How about you? If you're just joining us, welcome. And please post in the comments anything that's on your mind you want to talk about. I do a Ask Me Anything on Friday. This one's going to be a little bit short today, simply because I want you to be able to go out and enjoy your Martin Luther King Day. But if you saw my little button on the front, that happens to be a button that I actually got at a Martin Luther King event. Yes, I am old enough to say my parents took me to a Martin Luther King event. And because those of you who are new or watching it non-live, if you haven't guessed already, I am mixed races. My father is black, my mother is white. So, and I was born in 1957. Okay. All of these are key things you need to know. Born in 57, a black and a white person come together and fall in love and want to get married. Okay. Not the norm. Okay. In California, they could not be married. They had to go to Mexico to be married because a white person could not marry a black person at that time. And so my life, you might say, looking like I do, was a bit rough. My hair stuck out in all directions, and people found me to be something to bully. But, I've said this before. Bullies look for anything that is with you that they can honestly pick on you for. So the reality of it is that if it wasn't my hair, it could be something else. And many of you out there can say, I hear you, I was bullied because my teeth weren't straight or my skin had patches, or who knows. I mean, a bully is going to pick something. You could be beautiful and be bullied, beautiful, I mean, by saying, let's say you are Barbie doll gorgeous. Let me just use that as an example, okay? As a classic, I say classic because I believe everyone is beautiful, but that's because you let the inside radiate out, right? So I use that beautiful term in quotes, if I may. Understand, no catalytic converter on my mouth. So if it offends you, just wait a little bit and understand that I apologize in advance. I just speak my mind, and that's probably why many subscribe. So do subscribe if you want to hear just what my raw opinion is, and bear with me. It's not to be offended. It's just my opinion. It's all my opinion, right? Okay, so here is a picture of me when I was younger. This is what my hair looked like before the blessing of dreadlocks. So you can understand it's a big statement. It is the blonde. I don't know where it came from. My mother has olive skin and dark hair, but the blonde we think came from my Uncle John on my father's side. The black half of the family. John was a white boy with blue eyes born to my family. We're just an anomaly. That's us, who could go figure. But my light skin, I'm lighter than my mother. My dad, it looks, has the nice dark skin. My sister has, I've often said that I should have been born a little bit more with pigment because I don't like to sit in the sun and tan, and my sister does. My sister has beautiful color. You can wear clothes and set them off because you're naturally black, right? Or in the case of my sister, more of a cream in the coffee color, but just beautiful, beautiful lady. And anything she wears sets it off. Whereas if I'm outside, people go, the sun's out, even my mom. But my super, super white skin with hair like that, I was a target. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So enter the amazing Martin Luther King during a time when I was a little girl. Both of my parents absolutely loved his message, to not hate, but love and appreciate. Okay. Basically, Martin Luther King went all over speaking that wisdom. And when he came through our community, my parents felt strongly that they had to go actually see him speak. So as a result, I got this button, and that's what I put on the thing because I had not honestly remembered my button. And the people, I have a Patreon page. Haha, how's that for a segue? I have a Patreon page. It's called Terry's Tribe. Patreon.com, Terry Harden. If you want to add your voice to our group, we support each other. Many are artists, but all different kind of artists. Being an artist is being being passionate about what you love. That's a true artist. If you're passionate about polishing a floor and you do it better than anybody else, bam. If you're passionate about bookkeeping and numbers are your magic, bam. If you clean, bam. If you are a mechanic, okay? So I have got a mechanic artist who is the ex-husband of my neighbor across the street. He is a artist when it comes to mechanics and cars. There's nothing he can't fix. There's nothing he just seems to touch it and bam. Chiropractor who just almost lays hands on me and my life changes. So basically what I'm saying is an artist isn't necessarily someone who paints or draws or sculpts or whatever. That's sort of me, performs or whatever, sayings. It's someone who is passionate about what they love. If you are passionate about what you love and you'd like to share your voice to the Patreon page, Terry's Tribe, I invite you to join for as little as $5 a month, $60 a year. We have 2 broadcasts like this before I come publicly on here. I show up publicly to talk to you every week. I talk to them first. And then we have a Zoom call every Wednesday where we actually have a conversation with each other. So it's really great. It's really wonderful. And this morning we were discussing my latest sculpture, the Cheshire Cat. I have a couple painters doing them, and they've done their interpretations, and I wanted to know what the public thought. So that's where I do that. I do that on in my tribe. They do that, and we discuss that. Okay. And so that was today. I just wanted to know what they thought, and they came about. I was going to show you something, and then I lost track of my thought. So let me just get back. There it is. There's my thought. I'm going to airdrop it. Okay, there we go. So here is the button you saw on the thumbnail today. And let me just remove the Patreon. Think about joining. We'd love to have you. But anyway, here we are. And this is the button that I got, the actual campaign. You know, back in the day, I don't know if they do these that much now. Do they? But back in the day, campaign buttons were huge. I mean, people loved to do to have you do campaign buttons. And I've got quite a few. In fact, I'm going to reach out to an auction house and see, because I have some really rare ones, including this one that I don't know if it's rare, but my parents took me there, and this was the button, and I actually save it. I tend to save a lot of stuff. So walking through as I clean my garage and I adjust things, I relive it. But I was very young when there was on the tribe today, on Terry's Tribe, my Patreon page, one of the ladies said that he went through and spoke in Arizona, and that was 1965, and I was born in 1957, so that would make me about 7 years old. So I remember a lot of things. I just didn't remember actually. There were a lot of people, I'm sure. I was probably on my dad's shoulders as my dad and my mom together stood in a crowd and listened to him speak. But what an opportunity. And I'm really grateful that this is the case. So today I just celebrate the joy of Martin Luther King by being kind to others. And because that's what he was about. He was about putting down the anger and replacing it with love. And as we all know, anger got him, and that's just a heartbreaker. That was a rough time during that period where people just felt like assassination was the solution, and that was really a heartbreaker. We lost so many good people, and it was just devastating every time. It was painful. So I'm happy for Martin Luther King Day. I like Martin Luther King Day, a day that you can just sort of make it the day to give somebody a grain of salt. If they cut you off, don't get angry. Just kind of give them a little space and say, I get it. Times are rough. COVID has not made things any easier, and we are not a human being doesn't like to necessarily be isolated from other human beings, including their family. So I thought that would be a good thing. Please understand that please understand that if you are being bullied, try real hard not to ingest that. Sometimes it's very hard when it's in your face, but you will come through it, and feel free if you want to join the tribe, and we talk about anything and everything because it's a private page and a private group. So there are things that we discuss that I don't discuss here. And also, as an artist, I'm asking the tribe always their opinion about sculptures that I'm working on and doing. Yeah. So there you go. Let's hear what you have to say today, because like I said, want to keep it short and sweet. I do want to explain to you, if you were not present for the Ask Me Anything on Friday, and then you went to look at it and you didn't find it there, we had to take it down. I'm not going to waste your time with the specifics, but we had to take it down. So what we're going to do is we're going to put up highlights. I'll post highlights of that live, because I did discuss D23, and there's some things there I think you'd like to know. And then I introduced the Cheshire Cat. So I'll cut those out and post those. Will it be this week? I don't know. I'm going to discuss that with my husband because that's what he does. And we'll see if we can give you some little highlights. I want to do a section, a playlist where it's highlights of everything we do. So if you don't want to sit for 2 hours here or over an hour, they're getting shorter, but I can talk for a long time, as those of you who've been there before know. So we'll do highlights. We'll do little snippets so that you can get the stories. If the stories is all you want, we're going to start to put a playlist together. Your advice actually was, instead of doing a whole channel, that was these little snippets, to put these little snippets in a playlist, and that way you can listen to them and watch them. So feel free to go to my playlist. You can see the Foster Farms chicken commercials I'm famous for, especially if you live back east or out of the country. You are not going to know what I'm talking about. So feel free to go to my playlist, Foster Farms playlist, and look at all the commercials. We've done over 42 commercials, and we've been doing playing those chickens since 1993 for a little company that's very, very it's fresh chicken. So it's only West Coast pretty much. So if you're interested in checking that out, you're welcome to. Just look at Foster Farms playlist and you can see my crazy wild chickens. Okay. And also, if you're interested in my early puppet performing, many people know I've been a puppeteer since I was very young, and I'm with the Muppets. I'm a Muppeteer. They call me when they need me, and they don't call me when they don't need me. And that's how it works. When they need puppeteers, they put they do a shout out to all the puppeteers in their corral, if you will. And then you're invited to come and audition. You get the part or you don't, just like most things. And it's great. Did Ghostbusters, Men in Black, things like that. So, so Google me, best way to find out about me. I don't want to waste, I don't want to fill it up now, but and but you can look also at podcasts, other stories, other things. They're all in my playlist on this channel. So you like it, you enjoy it, do me a favor and subscribe, okay? That would be a real honor if you decide I'm something that you're interested in continually learning about, okay? All right, cool. Hello, good morning. It's raining here in New York City too. Happy Martin Luther King Day. Yeah. I kind of like the MLK, At first I wasn't sure. I kind of felt like it should all be typed out. But no, MLK is great because it fits in one line. And we all know what it means, so it's great, so happy Martin Luther King Day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And good to see you. So basically you won't find that Friday Ask Me Anything is what I started to say, but I will try to pull up highlights and let you know when I do. Okay. Just had to bring it down and And then we were going to try and repost it, but Facebook said, yeah, it's too long. So we're going to cut it up. And that'll be nicer for you anyway, probably. Okay. Morning, Randy. Hi, Mary Sue. How are you? Good morning. Catalytic converter on your mouth. Don't say that. Somebody will come along and steal it. I've been saying it for years. It's the truth. It's absolutely the truth. Sometimes my opinions can be very intense. I try not to do that here on a Facebook channel, because sometimes when people are like ranting, it can be, you start to, as a viewer or a listener, start to back up like this, you know? And my husband listens to a guy who's a photographer, and he was in so close. He was like this. And I actually felt like, you know, there's a zone, there's a dance space. And I think we're very conscious of it. So I had trouble hearing what he had to say because he was right on top of the camera. And as you know, if you're a filmmaker or you've been in films or you're someone like me who's performed in them, that is a technique they use to make you feel uncomfortable. So you automatically feel uncomfortable because you're in too close, right? So that's what that is. Okay, that's what that is. But you're right. But I've used it for years, so you know. Maybe that should be the title of my book. Personally, I love big blown out afros. Yeah, they're a lot of work, my friend. They're a lot of work, Joe. They're a lot of work. To make an afro look good, it's a lot of work. If you've ever gone up to someone who's had one, and you go to touch it and they go, no, whoa, it's because it's a form of sculpting to make that happen, you know? So that which looks natural is a lot of work. Now mine, like you saw, nah. I'm an artist. Dreadlocks are great because you can just flip them whatever way if you want, you know? Put them up if you want. Whatever, you know? So I love them because they are my hair type, and they're very low maintenance. So anyway, so as far as Martin Luther King is concerned, my family just loves celebrating this holiday. It's a time we come together and celebrate our uniqueness. You're unique. You're unique. No, not like that. Just say good things about who we are and why we are. And don't lament about the bad stuff. We make this a day of, you know, giving thanks. And for someone like him, oh, I'm going to sit. I'm thankful for that. But just a time to just check yourself out and make sure as you go through your day to day to be focused on being kind and compassionate. Mm-hmm. We should do that every day, but not every day is a day that we can. I wish we could always be compassionate, but sometimes something will set you off and you'll just go, you know, and you're not sure why, but you know, let me give you an example. You're gonna fly. And many of us are not doing that right now because of COVID, but many of us are. And you're going to fly, and you're going to fly to, I don't know, points unknown. And someone tells you a story of a plane crash they heard in the plane, like when you're flying the day before you're going to fly. You know, like watching Final Destination before you fly to Paris. Just no. Why would you do this? So there are times when you or maybe others say something to you and you go, why do they even say that? You know, like maybe you broke up with somebody and all of a sudden everyone wants to talk about that somebody you broke up with. That's water under the bridge. Why would you even bring it up other than, you know what I mean? You say to yourself, why do they bring that up? Pardon me, unless it's to hurt me. It's not. People just bring stuff up that you go, now why did you mention that? That's what I'm talking about. I mean, try very hard not to be that guy. While you're driving, a lot of people don't know how to drive. It's amazing. The fact that rarely people use a signal just makes me crazy. I don't understand. They're usually right here along the steering wheel, very easy to turn to let me know where you're going. But they don't. And there are times you can, depending on your state of mind, you're. But if you're driving today and somebody does that, just take a breath, breathe, and think of Martin Luther King and how he went out on a limb to bring his message to people and to help us understand that love and understanding is the direction we need to be going in as a people. And really awesome to be able to see him in person, even though as a little kid, I may not have, pardon me, sorry, that was loud. I may not have absorbed everything as a little child. As I get older, as I got older, I did. And my parents wanted me to know. Not everybody, just because a person is a different color from you, they don't necessarily hate you. There are some that do, but not everybody. So compassion, 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 tolerance, tolerance, tolerance. And that is Martin Luther King. Bob says he's a Patreon member, subscribes because I am very interesting, full of love for life that includes our tribe, and you share so many insights. Thank you, Bob Burdine, for saying that. Isn't he lovely? He is one of the people whose voice is essential to our tribe. Bob is a giver, and his wife Rose are givers. They are all about charity, raising money for those less fortunate than they are. It's a mission for them. It's really something that they do in heart and in health and in head. And we learn so much from them because they have taught and to show us how to be charitable without necessarily spending money. So they are such a great addition. Their smiling faces, their joy. They just whenever you see them, they light up a room. There's no way. The other day, Bob said he was surprised that a particular person remembered him, and he's so memorable. You're never going to forget Bob and Rose Burdine. I mean, once you see them, it's kind of like me, but he doesn't have dreadlocks. But he is a memorable individual. You know the kind of people. They come into a room and you never forget. The lights go on without even a switch. Yeah, that's Bob and Rose Burdine. So really great to have them in the tribe, and really an inspiration. When people say, I'm in a dark place, how would I do something nice for someone else if I don't have any money? I can't think of any resources. I'm sad. I'm sad. How do I get on sad? And Bob and Rose Burdine have a Rolodex of answers. And you guys know what a Rolodex is? Yeah, well, if you don't, ask me. The Poor People's Campaign. Exactly. Yeah. And my parents took me. I have this button. I don't know what this button would go for if I was going to, I don't even know. I found it in my garage, along with a plethora of other political buttons, because I used to collect these buttons. I have one that I cherish, actually, Joe, that is from War of the Worlds, signed by Anne Robinson. So yeah, it's cool. She signed it right there for me. And I thought I had lost it, and there it was, popped right up. So I have some seriously crazy media buttons like Blazing Saddles. And I've got one from, I think it's 1941, and it's got Belushi on it. So yeah, so I don't know if anybody's interested in these or what. I did talk to a guy who collects political buttons, and I'm going to talk to an auction house about, I want to get them to the people who would like them, and because what good are they doing in my garage? If you do the math, they've been there a long time. Indeed. Thank you. See, as a kid, I was happy to be hearing something that was positive, because I was really being bullied, and I hated my hair. back then because it was the sole reason I thought was the sole reason I was getting picked on, beaten up, shoved in lockers, hair set on fire, blah, blah, blah. I kept thinking if it looked more like Mary Tyler Moore or Betty White's, they would stop bothering me. But the reality is, would they? A lot of times, the bully is about themselves, not about you. Which means, that doesn't help if you're being bullied. I mean, seriously, it doesn't help. But that is really the truth, that the bully is bullying you because of something that's crappy in their lives a lot of times. They just need someone to take it out on. And there you are with your hair like a dandelion. So, but that was then, this is now. It lit a fire under me. I went for what I wanted. I never looked back. I never gave up. And now I'm here hoping to help you do the same. You want to do something. You want to make a living doing what you love. You want to, be a filmmaker, singer, work at a museum. Why not? Why not? Why listen to the people who tell you can't? You want to be an actor? I've acted in several things. I'm a character actress. Have they been a lot? Have the auditions been a lot? No, they haven't. I'm not an Angelina Jolie or a Will Smith, but that's okay. I've met them. They're wonderful. They're lovely. Worked with them. But Michael Jackson, Elizabeth Taylor, worked with them. Am I them? No, I'm me. So my journey is going to be my journey. And as long as I'm working towards that journey, you never know what could happen, right? Just don't let people that tell you can't. Don't listen to those people. La, 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 talk to the hand. That's all I'm saying. I never did, no. And I don't know why, okay? Except for probably just my history as a kid, getting beaten up and told that I couldn't because of stupid reasons they would give me, Or, as they always say, if they tell you your idea is crazy, you're probably onto something. And I always bring up the pet rock. If you've got a cool idea you want to do, run with it. Maybe it'll fail, maybe it won't. I mean, the pet rock, seriously? Hit the world by storm. If you don't know what it is, Google it. It was huge. And it was nothing but a rock in some straw in a little box with holes in it called the pet rock. And it sold like craziness. Don't, be curious, not judgmental. Heard that from Ted Lasso, season 1. And now, Walt Whitman, I think. And, really drove it home. I mean, I knew the quote, but Ted Lasso drove it home for me. Because what's really nice about a quote is rather than just quote it, you sort of demonstrate what being curious as opposed to judgmental actually means. And bam, that sticks with you forever. And Ted Lasso, season 1, really drives that home. And I never forgot it and felt like you need to know it too. Being curious about the person across from you and not judging just by looking at them, which happened to me all the time. Now, not as much, but back then, oh yeah. In fact, we were at a store yesterday where we were looking at a product, okay, in a place that caters to the entertainment industry. And the salesperson assumed we were consumers, did not bother to find out whether or not we were in the business, whether or not we knew what we were talking about in the business. They just assumed we were a couple of people walking in, didn't know what we were talking about, and just kept talking to us, kept telling, because they were not curious. They were judgmental. We didn't mind. We pick our battles. The person needed to talk. We listened. He had some very good points, and he had some points that just didn't make any sense to us. But, sometimes it's better to let that person speak and let them get it out and smile and nod and then, say, we get you. We understand. And you're right. One of the things that he wanted to talk about was the fact that, in earlier days, he was a very prolific commercial actor. He was always landing commercials, audition, 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 like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. But then famous people like your Nicole Kidmans and your, pick a famous person who's done a commercial. So many have. Right? They become the spokespeople of a product. Why? Because they realized you can do a commercial, work 5 days, and get paid enough that you can take the rest of the 360 days off. You can take them off because you get paid a lot. You become the spokesperson. That's a big deal. I don't know if you remember the Bartles and James commercials with the two fellas that talked about a kind of a sweet wine called Bartles and James. And one guy did all the talking and the other guy just kind of nodded. They were two farmer type people. The guy who just nodded got paid $2.1 million to nod for the year because he was a spokesperson. On the radio, he didn't speak. So they wanted, in order for him to show his presence, true story, because I met these two. We did, my dear friend Lynette Eklund and I, we both did we sculpted something for them. They needed a giant peach. She and I made a peach, and then she made this beautiful macaw, and for one of their commercials. So we met them, and we puppeteered it together and everything. Anyway, she when we were there, they were talking to us, and they were telling us about this incident where the quiet one had to be on the radio, and they said, "We need you to say something on the radio." And he kept saying, "No, that's not my character. I don't speak." And so they paid him an extra $2.1 million to say one word. Okay, so is it a shock that celebrities of all makes, models, and stuff are doing these commercials now? Because they can stay home in their comfy house, mansion, whatever, and drive and do the commercial that takes 1 day, maybe 2 to shoot, and then it pays for the year, and then they can do whatever they want. It sounds good, right? For a while, they were under the impression that commercials were below them, and people like this fellow and myself actually got a lot more commercial work because it was for the every actor. It was a great way to break in and use a stepping stone to get into something else. I absolutely love doing commercials. I could have just done those all my life, like Flo, the amazing actress who plays Flo. Ride that to the bank. Or the woman who talks about HBO Max. That little cutie pie. I think she's AT&T. Both of them, spokespeople, probably making a good buck. Why do you want to do anything else? I mean, you remember Mrs. Olsen for coffee? Cha-ching! So a lot of the big time actors thought that commercials were below them when actually commercials have movie budgets. So they can hire the celebrities, and that's why. So he was lamenting that he didn't get as much work anymore because people like your Will Smith, your Angelina Jolie, your The Rock, anybody. They're asked for specifically for their representation of doing a commercial. George Clooney, he's been doing several. That lovely actress who we just saw in the Eternals. That movie wasn't that good, but she's always lovely. And she does a commercial, I think it's for Nespresso, and her beautiful accent, warm and chocolate mocha coffee sounding voice, along with an espresso machine, Nespresso, I think is what she does, just fits. But if you're an actor who used to make your money in commercials quite well, and then all of a sudden, poof, you might not be that happy about the celebrities taking over. But doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means it's a lot more, you got to work harder now to get in. Yeah, because there are commercials that just, call up, see the agency of said celebrity and said, give me Nicole Kidman, or give me, Meryl Streep, or give me, so George Clooney. They don't ask for a George Clooney type. They want George Clooney, and George Clooney's right there going, yeah, sure. So that's what he was saying. And sometimes it's just great to just let them speak. is what I'm saying. Don't, how bad do you need to be right? Good morning, Michelle. Thank you for joining the tribe today. You were so funny on there. I wouldn't mind hearing some of your more extreme ideas. My more extreme ideas on what? You might be opening Pandora's box, Joe. Yeah, don't touch black folks' hair, my Caucasian brethren and sisterin, only if you get explicit permission. Now, I am mixed races, as I've said before, half black, half white, and people just were so confused by my hair and my look. I can remember several times growing up, especially when I started dreadlocks, a woman saw me, okay, pretended not to see me, which is always funny because I know that you're looking. Because a lot of people look. What's up about her? Now that I have embraced myself, they look for different reasons. But when I was younger, yeah, they looked. And she pretended to trip and grabbed my hair in order to steady herself. I helped her up and said, all you had to do was ask me. And she said, what are you talking about? I tripped. And I said, yeah, no, you didn't. But that's okay. If you want to touch my hair, ask me, because it's unusual. It's not black color dreadlocks. In other words, my dreadlocks are not black in color. They could be gray in color if I'm lucky, but they were blonde, and then they were this sort of, they were this color on the ends, and now it's gray oxidized into this sort of what they call dirty dishwasher blonde hair, and on the top it's gray. I'd love it all to be the salt color, but who knows? I'm not going to covet what I don't have. I'm just happy that I'm growing out my own hair color. It makes me feel real good. But it was unusual not to see dreadlocks in black, the color black, because that's the way you see many dreadlocks, isn't it? Or gray. Now, many older black women are wearing them gray, which is beautiful. I love the way that looks. So people wanted to touch it, wanted to see what it was like. And many asked me, may I touch your hair? And many would ask you, how do you wash it? And I'd say, washing is not the problem. Drying is the challenge, because it soaks up a lot of water. But yeah, but because I am of both camps, so to speak, I've always made it, my dad said, be the best you can be. And one of the best yous I can be is to help. If a black person wants to know a question about this, or a white person wants to know about this, they just ask me, and I'm going to tell you straight up. So that's, many are shy, but they don't have to be, okay? Because I think I was born, honestly, I think God made me this way so that I could be a bit of an ambassador to both, to people of color and and white people, to help that middle of the road feeling. And we do on Terri's Tribe get deep down into those discussions. Yeah, we really do. Hello, Lincoln. I know I owe you a phone call. January's just rough for me. I'm so glad you're a patient fellow. I really appreciate that. I love it, love it, love it. Sharing to my page. Lincoln, you're a rock star, and I promise I will give you a call. He's been wanting to touch base. He sculpts these beautiful flowers, and I wanted to talk to him about how we might share them with you. But I gotta talk to him. Maggie, Elliott, how are you? Good morning. What a pleasant surprise. And Connie Lane. The weather is sweater there. I love that. It is sweater time. I'm got layers. I've got this is my protect me from wax, clay, and paint smock, and then a nice little scarf to add some color. This will be coming off, but for the broadcast, my husband says be colorful. And I don't think he means here. But it's cold here and it's rainy. We got a little bit of sun poking out, but it's getting a battle with the clouds, and I hope the clouds win, because I love the rain. Absolutely love the rain. And it rained all night last night, and I think that's why I slept like Rip Van Winkle. I just got to tell you, I slept so deeply, and good, I needed it, because this is a challenging month. I'm sure it's a challenging month for many artists, as we do the thing that is not necessarily our most fun thing, which is crunch our numbers. Okay, we do end of the year. We get the stuff off to a bookkeeper to help us out, and to our CPA for taxes. We just start to talk about what else you need. And then sales tax month, and then if you have to pay estimated, That's another thing that I had to make sure I had in the work. So when I finally got that all done, I did most of that on Saturday. I just went, I'm still awake. So I worked a little bit more on my Lego Titanic, which has been the biggest blessing. We are now on the last two parts of my Lego Titanic, and I'm starting to feel a little melancholy. So I've stepped away from it because I don't want it to end just yet. And I'm saying to myself, what other Lego project am I going to do? Because the nice thing about doing these Legos, and if you do puzzles or whatever, it pulls me out and puts me into something that has absolutely nothing to do with furthering my career or my work. And what's great about that is that I'm training my brain to work in a different path for a while. So for me, it's like this brick has to snap here, and I'm making little lifeboats, and I'm putting together the pieces to make it look beautiful. And oh my God, is it wonderful? Wait a minute. I think I snapped this wrong. I got to undo this to make this work right on the Legos. But it's all about, like if you're doing a puzzle, maybe you do the frame and then you fill in the middle. Some do the middle and then they go out to the frame, or some just go from one corner to the other. However you do it, your brain is on a different plane and it keeps it active and awake. And so I'm really loving it. Lego has really raised the bar since I was a kid. They are so much more than bricks and windows, doors, and people, which is what I remember. Celebrated when the people came, when the roofs came, when the windows came. Yesterday, a friend of mine told me there used to be the clear brick when we were kids, and that's what we used as sort of a window. And I had forgotten about those. I was like, oh, yeah, we were so excited about the transparent brick because you could make window-like in your little houses. But it was all about buildings, and then it went into ships and things. And for a while, Lego had things where they didn't let you build the piece out. It was just like, here's a wing, and it had little dots, and you snapped it in, and you had a plane. It was too much of prefabricated things, and I didn't want that. I wanted to build. Well, let me tell you, my Lego Titanic is all about the building. Every part is built, and you just get tears in your eyes. We were talking the other day. There's a couple of model makers who are actually the movie Titanic. They are refurbishing the actual model from the movie Titanic, which is huge. And one of the people that was at the breakfast yesterday that I was with did the lighting, and it's gorgeous. I mean, brilliant, high-end Academy Award winning model makers. And it's great to be able to speak with these people. And they showed me, because I'm building this Titanic and I love the Titanic, but I'm kind of a fangirl about the Titanic. I'm not one of those who digs deep into all of the details of the Titanic and what made it a great ship. I'm reading about it, Lego, and I read it. But being told by these people who built it, they actually pulled up the smokestacks so I could see how my Lego smokestacks were like the smokestacks of the actual Titanic. And then he showed me the engine room, and I was like, oh, I just built those inside my Titanic Lego. And he looked at it and said, that's a pretty cool ship. Look at how they managed to nail this, and this, because he's building the actual model for the movie. He's rebuilding it and putting it in Cameron did that one. Was it Cameron shot that? Cameron's doing a private museum for himself, and so these model builders have been brought over, have been paid to refurbish a lot of the props and characters from his movies, so that he can preserve them properly. It's cool, right? Yeah, Again, back in the day, people didn't work real hard to do that. And that's why the 1933 King Kong armature is so popular, because that actually survived from Willis O'Brien's studio and is owned by a friend of ours. So to see the actual one, to touch the actual one, and then learn about people who have studied like King Kong, they tell you some things and they go, freeze frame it. You can see one of the stop motion markers pop into frame because they didn't pull it out. They just went, And then in a scene where Kong is terrorizing the natives, one of the natives' wigs pops off, gets grabbed by a basket, pops off, and goes rolling away, and he has no wig. I mean, I love those things like that. More to date, watching Star Wars, where in the original film, the stormtroopers couldn't really see out of their helmets, so they kicked that little robot that's leading them to where Luke Skywalker is, or where our C-3PO is making changes so that they can rescue the princess. And there's a sequence where they kick it. Also, when they come in where R2-D2 and C-3PO are doing their magic inside the control room of the Death Star. It's been a while. I need to watch that movie again. I only saw it 183 times. What's the matter with me? But anyway, when if you don't watch where they're going, you watch how they come in. The poor stormtrooper bangs his head on the door because they can't see. This is the stuff I love. Okay, I love seeing these little faux pas because it's the heart of movie making. So it's super, super cool. So I love that stuff. Lincoln, yep, love you, man. LOL. Same to you, my friend. Yeah, the buttons all sound like fun, really interesting. They are. They're just so unusual. Was it Spiro and Agnew? See, I was little then too. All these different languages, campaign buttons in all different types of languages. Just wild. Just, I'm telling you, just weird, wild, funky. Hair said I'm fine. Oh, no bueno. Yep. 8th grade, guy threw a match in my hair. Luckily, I had friends with really fast hands. Yeah, true story. So, yeah, and then I found him later. That's what you did back in the day. You found these people. Nowadays, they don't want you to do that. But back then, Lincoln says, I agree that being bullied motivated me also. I mean, you draw a line in the sand, and this is not for everybody, okay? So we're not taking being bullied lightly. Please don't think that. But as we get older, they played an integral part in the development of our makeup. Yeah, because that is a part of what happened in our lives too. So hang in there and look to art to get your anger out. If if you're feeling very angry or upset, or find someone you can do something nice for, so you stay out of the dark area of your life, because sometimes you can get so sad and so depressed and so down. And how do you climb out of that hole? Well, one of the ways to do it, a la Bob and Rose Burdine, is to think about something charitable you can do for someone else. For example, I'm just going to give you an example. Didn't cost me anything. Okay. I have a friend who does avocados for Haas. And avocados are the most delicious things. Wouldn't you agree? So this lady is having very high winds where where her trees are, and it's blowing the avocados off prematurely of the trees. So they're not getting to the size that Haas, the company, wants. They're all small. They're like, I should have brought one so I could show you. Maybe Friday I'll remember. But they're all about this big. Perfect size for my husband and I, who are 2 people, and we don't eat massive amounts of food. So beautiful little things. Well, my friend who brought them over for me to have met my neighbor, and my neighbor is a old quirky lady, but she is adorable. And she gave her an avocado, and this woman went to her car and ate the avocado right away. Okay. I mean, it must have been a minute that transpired. Went to her parked car, climbed in the car, peeled the avocado, and popped it in her mouth. Right. And for the first time, I realized this woman may not be getting as much nutrition as she needs. Maybe she is and just really adores avocados and couldn't wait, But the point is that the next day, they gave me a lot of avocados. And so I made a little decorated box, some green tissue paper and whatever, put the avocados and said, look, my neighbor, my friend who brings me avocados said, don't forget your neighbor next door. So from your neighbor next door, with love, from Terry and Rocket, all of us next door, here are the avocados. Well, man, she came around the corner and could not stop thanking us. I must have put in half a dozen of those little avocados in there. And I told her if she wanted more, just let me know, because there's a very good chance I might have them. So there's something you can do nice. What did that cost me? A little bit of tissue paper in a box I already had. And out of 20 avocados, I gave her, 8 or whatever. And then I gave some to my neighbor across the street as well, because, this lady next door said that avocados are so good for you and they're so expensive. Well, here you go, free. So what I'm saying is, when you're in a dark spot, the best way to get out of that dark place is to do something nice for someone else. Like in the case of the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Grinch soon learned that by doing a nice deed, your heart grows. You feel better. The darkness can't live there. So I'm not just spewing words. I'm telling you from my heart, this is the way that you can get away from this dark that you're having. If you're feeling like you just can't climb out. And then when all luck fails, come listen to us. We're here to make you feel better if we can. So I hope that helps. And thank you, Lincoln. Is the Muppets 50? Is the Muppets 50? Is it their 50th? If that's what you're asking me, Michael? You're a character, all right. Yes, I am. And a character actor. I am. This is like no other channel. I review stuff if I feel like it. I show you things in my life if I feel like it. I talk about stuff if I feel like it, but I have to feel like it. So you never know what you're going to get. I talk about Disney a lot. I do the Ask Me Anything to keep consistency, but you'll notice it's not a super amount of followers, but the followers are really, really great. And my attitude is, if you like what you see, follow. And if you don't, I understand. Okay. So, but I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm here. I'm present. It's a big deal for me to do this. I watched 7 pounds last night, cried like a baby. Yeah, 7 pounds is unbelievable, isn't it? It's interesting that you mentioned 7 pounds because it's Will Smith. Yeah, Will Smith, right? Unbelievable. I think it was Will Smith. Forgive me if it's Monday. Monday is always a little bit foggy for me. Unlike some of people who are just on their game today in the tribe, boy, they were snappy. And I was like, wow, Mondays are good for you. I'm still a little sleepy. But I went to see him because I've done several movies with Will Smith. And I had a friend who was a super fan. She was such a big fan of Will Smith. And so I took her with me as my guest to hear him speak. When you're a screen actor, you get to go and see people speak. Before the pandemic, now a lot of it's virtual. So I like the virtual ones too, but the ones that are live are a lot of fun because you never know what's going to come out of the actors who are speaking's mouths. And you never know what kind of questions people in the audience like myself are going to ask that'll just tip them over the edge and give them a big laugh. But afterwards, people try to gather and shake a hand or take a picture with the person who's speaking. And I took my friend who is a big Will Smith fan and I said, Will, and he looked up and he said, Terry. And I said, I have someone who just loves you, adores you. Would you mind getting a picture with her? And he said, absolutely. And he pushed everybody aside and did it. So when you work together and it's a colleague, sometimes you get that little VIP treatment, and he gave that to me. So 7 pounds I felt was an amazing movie and a great movie, Lincoln. And I'm with you on that. A lot of people didn't like it. But a lot of people, here's what I think about people who didn't like it. Just my opinion, again, is that they don't like to feel sad. They don't like to cry. They don't like that. I mean, Disney really doesn't want to take you down that dark path of sadness. And yet sadness makes happiness more rewarding. Happiness makes sadness go deep. You need both. What is it in Kung Fu with David Carradine? He says, without evil, good cannot prevail. And without good, evil doesn't really, how can you gauge them? Basically, they are the yin and yang is what they talk about. It's a great show, by the way. But yes, I thought 7 pounds was amazing. The lady in the Wookiee mask is now working at Pixar. Did you follow her, Randy? Stop stalking the poor lady in the Wookiee mask. And that's a perfect example. Is this lady just did something she thought would be cute. I don't think she was looking at it to get tons of followers. She just wanted to do something special for a friend. Isn't that right? And it just went viral. So I love that. I think that's very touching and sweet and kind. I have a video that I did as an audition for a lady who has speakers on stage, and that's one of my most watched videos. So, you're just doing it to do for a different reason, and people follow it for, so that's awesome, isn't it, Randy? Yeah. Hi, Jessica. It's nice to see you today too. Welcome. Happy Martin Luther King Day. Bartles and James, total 80s throwback. Throwback. Yeah. Yeah. I went to an 80s party wearing a killer jacket that looks like Sergeant Pepper's meets Bee Gees. And they just went crazy. Tons of pictures, taking pictures of me in this amazing coat. And they asked me where I got it. And I went, the 80s. I'm almost 65, guys. So the 80s were there for me. And you're right, Bartles and James. I'm Facebook friends with Joe Isuzu. Yes. I remember Joe Isuzu. How about that? You know? And he probably really enjoys it when someone brings it up and says, "You're Joe Isuzu." You don't know what we're talking about, then check him out. Kelly Freeman, when I was with a blonde friend in Japan, everyone wanted to touch her hair, wanted to know if the color was real. She didn't want people to touch her hair. Yeah, it's a little weird. Now, when I was in Argentina, people wanted to rub my head because that's good luck. Yeah, anyone with an afro, dreadlocks, things like that. In Argentina, they said it was good luck if they could, a lot of them asked, but some just reached out and sometimes you just got to get over it. Sometimes you just do, you just got to smile. It's precious. Most of them don't mean to make it difficult for you. They don't believe it's real. Right. So, Japan, when I was there, everybody was wearing black and white, and now they're wearing colors, which is just lovely to see them break into color. And a lot of them were shorter than me. And then so anytime I saw someone that was taller, I was just like, wow, that person, wow. So yeah, when you're tall, when you were tall in Japan, people just stopped because they just couldn't believe you could grow that high, but we're fascinated by what by the unusual, which is me. I'm unusual. Hi, Leo. Kelly says, so it seems we are attracted to those things that are different from ourselves, or some people aren't, right? But you got to embrace if you're different. I've been different all my life. I've never, and I remember when I was taking an acting class, I was trying really hard to actually, I don't know what I was doing. People said I was over the top. Okay, if I went to an audition, they said, you're over the top, you're over the top. Then I got with an acting coach, which is always good to find someone who can not necessarily teach you acting, but teach you the philosophy of acting, the mindset. And she looked at me and she said, Terry, when you walk in the door, you're over the top. So stop trying to be what you're not. And that little nugget of wisdom there, that golden nugget of wisdom is what made me start to get callback. Because I just went in and did it the way I did it and left and forgot about it, and I got called back. I actually got to audition for the homeless lady that sits out front of the convenience store in Venom. And that was a great audition. I had so much fun. However, by the time it actually hit the movie screen, it was a totally different type. And that's what you got to understand is, if you are very different, like I look, I'm going in and men and women, you know how if you're an actor, they say you'll see 100 people that look like you? Not the case. When I go and audition, it's dogs, cats, children, men, old men, young men, women with hair out like this, women with short cut, tall, thin, every type of person in the world. That's character acting, basically. And so they don't know what they're looking for. It gives you a freedom to just bring it. And then if they like what they see, bam, they're going to use you. And if they don't like what they see, then they don't do it. But don't take it personal. It's your product. Your acting is your product. So Shark, the TV show, they loved me. I went in, I did my bit. They said they wrote a part for me. It's a true story. And I really will thank James Wood forever and his team, because they liked what they saw. They liked me. They liked what I did. And they called my agent and said, this part doesn't work for her, but we're going to write one. And my agent was just delighted. Yeah, like I wasn't, right? But that's what I'm saying. When you're really, 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 really a bit extreme different just by existing, you got to embrace it and be the best you ever. And so I do. So there you go. Your heart will go. Yeah. Your heart will go on after Titanic. Yeah, it will. It will. But the Titanic taught me something. First of all, in order to buy the Titanic, it's not, $20. It is a $650 Lego set. And the box you can use as a coffee table. I mean, as an end table, not a coffee table, end table. It's big. Not like the, what is it, 10-foot galactic cruiser from Star Wars. God knows what that one went for. But, and I have no place to put that. But, nor do I want to. But the Titanic is sleek and beautiful. And my husband said, number one, you got to find a place for it. Once you build it, where are you putting it? And I knew exactly where I wanted to put it. I had a spot, and I said to my husband, he's been wanting me to clean that shelf off for a long time. So I said, you win, because I'll clean that shelf off to put the Titanic up. And here's something that I was worried about, okay, as you fit the pieces. The Titanic is done in 3 parts. The presentation of the box is amazing. If you decide you want to see any of that, let me know. But it's 3 parts: the front part of the ship, the middle part of the ship, the back part of the ship. I'm speaking very basic terms, okay? Not getting all fancy on you. The front part comes in 2 parts. You build the front part, then you build the middle front part. Then you go into the second one and you build the middles, 2 middles. They look like little hero sandwiches, in my opinion. You connect those together. Then you can connect the front part to the middle part. But this is the part I was nervous about, because I'm not going to lift a 4-foot-long ship by myself up onto this shelf. I want to do it in part 1, part 2, part 3. And I was concerned about how I was going to make the back all clean, because there's bricks that you put part 1A to part 2A, or part 1A to part 1B. And what they did, Lego, brilliant, having builders as fans as builders, is it works with a pin system. So you don't have to ever worry about the back. You put a pin system in, and that connects part 1 to part 2 and part 2 to part 3 of the 3 sections. Plus, you can pull the pin out easily to twist and look at all the floors and engine rooms that you've been building, because it's not just the outside. You build all the floors, you build the engine room, things move. Guys, it's amazing. And if you've ever invested into one of these expensive, or kits that are not like $20, you're actually having to consider purchasing it, because it was a $650 purchase. But I wanted it so bad. I had never had such an exquisite kit as that one. And so I am just loving it. So thank you, Leo. Yes, I will. I'm going to look at it forever and just go, this is the coolest thing ever. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yes, the Muppets more than 50 years ago. I loved them when I was a kid, and then getting to work full circle. That's kind of what I want to call my Star Wars book, full circle, because seeing Star Wars made me realize I had a career in the industry. It was not just a hobby. And then later I got to meet George Lucas on a show I did called Captain EO, and tell him what an inspiration he and this movie was for me, and what it did for me, and many others who went on to do films and create films of their own, like Favreau. That Star Wars is the thing that catapulted us. I wouldn't be surprised if Favreau wasn't in one of the screenings watching the movie like I was watching the movie at one point. I watched it a lot. So, but that's what George Lucas's movie did for so many of us, and we'll always be grateful to him and his tenacity, because he didn't just suggest it and it gets sold. He had to go to about a dozen different people before Alan Ladd said, let's light this candle. He just didn't give up. And I had the scripts, I had the story treatment, which is just immaterial now, because of course Disney's got a hold of it. But it was amazing. It was amazing. And I remember being able to sit with him, sit with Harrison Ford, and simply discuss what the movie meant to me. But George Lucas, what an honor to sit with him and be able to tell him how much I loved his tenacity, his perseverance, and the fact that he just didn't give up. And look what the reward was. So if you ever, begin to feel you're beaten up because you've gone to place after place after place, or you're a writer and you've pitched cover letter, and people are going, no, just keep the faith. If you believe your work is good, then do it. Or maybe consider hybrid publishing, where you can get some assistance from a publisher, but you don't have to, go that whole gamut. Because the truth be told, a publisher is going to take most of your money. So it's great if you want to be published, and I love that, but it's not the only way now, is it? If you really believe in your writing, then keep going, or whatever it is that people keep slamming the door. One day the door will open. Okay. Just remember, one day it will. And following people who have been strong fighters is great. I've done 3 movies with Whoopi Goldberg, and she was an inspiration to me. She says they tell you, oh, look at Whoopi Goldberg, overnight success. And she says that overnight took me 20 years to achieve. So it's great to sit and talk to them about what it really takes. It takes perseverance, it takes, you keep doing it. If you really want it, don't let anybody tell you no. Just keep going. And if you need a pep talk, well, come here and I'll pep talk you. Join the tribe. We'll pep talk you, won't we, Leo? Walt Disney for every laugh and every tear. Yeah, old Walt Disney was every tear. New Walt Disney, I question that. Okay. I'm just one of those people that just goes, they want you to be happy most of the time. And I don't like being stolen, with the exception of Encanto. Okay. Encanto came out and I actually got to be eternally sad for a while before it raised up and made me happy. And I was able to go into those emotions that make the happiness pay off more. And I don't know who was responsible. I think it was the people who did, the people involved were the ones who did Zootopia, which I love Zootopia. I think it's their fault. And I want to thank them because it's their fault. A good example, John and Leo, is, thank you, John, for saying that, by the way. I miss you, buddy. I miss you. Good to see you. Hope you are well. One of the things that I love that bothers me, Leo, is that everybody likes Coco. And for the most part, I do too. But there's a sequence in there where I am going down the sadness trail and they do a silly joke before I finish my body really embracing that sad moment. And Disney does that a lot. And it bugs me. I'm going to tell you right now, it makes me crazy. Stop doing silly stuff and keeping me from feeling the sad emotion. Because trust me, if you're going to pull up and make it happy in the end, I'm going to appreciate that better as a viewer. I want to feel all the emotions, And so Encanto does that. I was really impressed with that movie. It's a bargain. I saw you at Disneyland. Yes. And Heidi and Odie were me. As well as Angelica Houston's stunt double. Yeah, no one else would do it. That was me. Yeah, we miss each other. I'm here. You got to reach out to me, man, because I miss you. We used to chat quite a bit, and I haven't heard from John in a while. And that's what happens. People grow apart, and you may not actually converse very much. But the reality is you're still friends in your heart. Also, they stay forever young in their heart, don't they? Who is it I saw the other day, and I was like, oh my goodness, I did not think of them in that era. I think it's my gardener's son, Kevin. I have a gardener who's been with me since I was in my 20s. He's just he was a rising artist in gardening, and I was a rising artist. And I saw him when he had his first baby, and then every baby after that. We talk all the time. He's a great, great guy. His name is Enrique. And he had an adorable son, Kevin. In my brain, Kevin is always 7. Kevin is also right now much older, helping his father run the gardening business, and he's great at it. Where his father lacks, Kevin picks up the baton, and it's wonderful to see them work together. And, the artist person is the father, Enrique, and Kevin is the business brains, his young son, who is now in his 20s. But I remember when Kevin came walking around, in my brain, 7-year-old kid, and it was like, oh my God. So you're forever young in our hearts, aren't you? And you're forever someone we love. So John, although I haven't seen you, I miss you, and think of you often. So I hope we connect soon. Okay, we'll do. Yeah. Love it. Okay, guys, we did well today. We're an hour and 9 minutes. Thank you, because I'm trying to keep these a little shorter for you so you don't feel like you have to dedicate half your life to my broadcasts. During the pandemic, that was one thing. And then Joe had suggested something very, very nice. He is listed here as retro exotica because he's just a retro exotic person himself. And he suggested we call this a comfy chat. This is what I call this channel. But I'm thinking of changing the name to Terry TV because comfy chat was so that you could come in from the cold and all the craziness of the pandemic, which, yeah, we're still having craziness. But many of you are being able to get out and about now. So I'm shortening the broadcast as best I can. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does. And I'm thinking of changing the channel's name to Terry TV. So I really like that. Joe suggested that, and I like the sound of it. But what do you think? Feel free to post in the comments or join me Friday for Ask Me Anything and let me know. Okay? All right. Okay. Hugs to you. Love to you. Be well, be safe, enjoy your week. Happy Martin Luther King Day. I hope you really will take a look at this and know that this was a person who was ahead of his time about preaching and was a joy for all of us. So put your best self forward, do something nice for someone. It'll make you feel a whole lot better. And we will see you TTV. Exactly. Exactly. And hugs to you. I love you guys. Know from the bottom of my heart that without you, my day would be a lot less bright. So I'm really grateful to you and the tribe. If you want to add your voice for $5 a month, $60 a year, then skip that Starbucks once a month and come and join the tribe because I think you're really, really going to love it. But completely up to you. Mwah! We'll see you soon. Great week to you. Hugs, and we'll talk soon. Okay.